Welcome back to Walk the Walk. A big thanks to everybody who has subscribed and liked the video so far. If you like this one, please also consider to share and like the video. So you've probably seen the noise online this week. Elon Musk telling people to cancel Netflix. Some say he's gone too far. Others say he's finally saying what most parents are thinking. Either way, it's kicked off a storm. Now, I'm not here to preach or wave a flag for anyone, but let's be honest. A lot of people are worried about what's being shown to kids these days. You sit down to watch something harmless, and suddenly you're explaining things you didn't plan to. Some call it progress. Maybe others call it confusion. Maybe Musk's got a point. Maybe he's just stirring things up. But the fact that it takes a billionaire shouting on social media to spark this conversation says something about where we are. Parents are tired, confused, and just want a bit of common sense back again. And how about you? Do you think he's right to speak up, or has the whole thing gone too far? Every few months now, there's another headline that sets people off. Some celebrity says this, some company pushes that, and before you know it, the internet split into two, half shouting boycott and the other half shouting grow up. Meanwhile, most of us are just trying to keep up with the bills, switch off for a bit, and not feel like every film, advert, or kids show is part of a moral debate. It used to be that TV time was an escape, a chance to switch your brain off, or at least for a while, sit with the family, and just enjoy something together. Now it feels like every program comes with a message, an agenda, or some lesson you didn't ask for. You can't even watch a cartoon without wondering what box it's ticking. And maybe that's why this latest row has hit such a nerve. Because for once, someone with influence, Musk, said out loud what plenty of parents have been whispering for years. When did kids' shows become a classroom for adult issues? Now, whether you agree with him or not, that question lands. It really does. Because childhood used to be about stories, imagination, innocence, the simple stuff, heroes, villains, jokes that made no sense but somehow felt magic. Not social debates wrapped in animation. But we've reached a point where everything has to mean something. Every film, every advert, every storyline has to prove it's progressive, or else it's called outdated. The funny thing is, the more we force these messages, the less genuine they feel. Kids aren't learning tolerance that way, they're learning confusion. You talk to most parents, and they'll tell you the same thing. They don't care who's who, or who believes what. They just want their kids to grow up safe, kind, and a bit less glued to screens. That's it. But when every news show feels like a moral minefield, people start switching off, literally. So when Musk says cancel Netflix, it's not really about one show. It's about a build-up of frustration. It's about people feeling like they've lost control of what's being put in front of their kids. They're tired of tiptoeing around topics that used to be simple. And of course, you can also say Musk knows exactly what he's doing. He's not just speaking as a parent, he's stirring up the culture pot. Because controversy equals clicks. That's how the internet runs now. It's not just about what's true or false, it's about what gets people riled up. But even if his motives are mixed, the reaction says something real. Because when that many ordinary people stop and say, hang on, maybe he's right, you know something deeper is going on. Think about it. You go online, you see everyone arguing about morals, but what's really happening? The platforms are cashing in, outrage is profitable. Every retweet, every angry comment, every video reaction, it all feeds the machine. The angrier we get, the more time we spend on the apps, and the more time we spend, the more money they make. It's a cycle. They provoke, we react. They profit, we divide. And in the middle of it all are the kids, scrolling through TikTok before they've even finished primary school, learning about the world, not from teachers or parents, but from trends. That's the real story here, because whatever you think about Musk or Netflix, the bigger question is this: who's raising the next generation, us or the internet? When we were young, if you saw something weird on TV, it was just a talking animal or a bad puppet. Now kids see everything. Things that would have been rated 18 plus back then pop up mid-afternoon on YouTube or social media. They're exposed to debates, politics, adult jokes, body image pressure, all before they've even had their first heartbreak. And we wonder why so many feel lost, anxious, unsure who they are. We tell them to be themselves, but every ad and algorithm is busy telling them what that should look like. Maybe that's why this Netflix story hit a nerve, because it's not really about one cartoon. It's about the slow creep of adult themes into every part of kids' lives, and the feeling that no one's guarding the gate anymore. I'm not saying we should go backwards. The world's moved on. People deserve to be represented, respected, seen. Of course they do. But there's a difference between showing diversity and turning children's entertainment into ideological training. There's a difference between teaching empathy and confusing identity. Most parents just want balance. They want to raise kids who can think for themselves, not repeat slogans they picked up from shows or social media. But that balance is slipping because everything's become extreme. And if you say let kids be kids and someone calls you closed-minded, say representation matters and someone else calls you brainwashed, there's no middle ground anymore, just noise. So, what do people do? They switch off, they cancel subscriptions, they look for something else that feels normal again, something human. That's why these boycotts, whatever you think about them, keep happening. Because people feel like they've lost their say. It's not about hate or phobia or whatever label gets thrown around. It's about ordinary people feeling like they're being lectured by the screens they pay for. And you know that's very dangerous, not because of one argument, but because of what it does long term. It turns people away from conversation. Everyone retreats to their own side. One side yells woke, the other yells bigot, and in the middle are millions who just want to watch a show with their kids without thinking about politics. Maybe that's the bit we're missing here. Maybe this whole drama isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about how exhausted everyone feels. Every day it's a new argument, a new crisis, a new reason to be offended, and all of it plays out through our phones. We're living in a time where having an opinion feels risky. Say too much and you're labelled. Say too little and you're accused of silence. It's no wonder people are tuning out, focusing on their own little worlds and trying to protect what's left of peace and privacy. So yeah, maybe Musk said what needed saying, or maybe he just gave people an excuse to vent. Either way, the fact that so many instantly understood where he was coming from tells you that something's broken. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about Netflix. It's about trust. Who we trust to raise our kids, who we trust to shape what they see, and who we trust to tell stories without trying to rewrite everything in the process. Maybe this is the start of people pushing back, not out of hate, but out of exhaustion. Maybe it's a small reminder that you can disagree with someone and still care about the same thing, protecting what's innocent. Because underneath all the noise, that's what this really is. A fight to keep something pure in a world that keeps complicating it. So, what do you reckon? Do you think Musk's got it right? Or has the world just lost its sense of balance? Let me know below, because these conversations aren't about sides, they're about sense, and right now, a bit of that's what we're all missing.